And we are back for what could be our deciding game number 4. IG currently leading the best of 5, 2-1. I almost lost my headphones there, so trying to keep myself together, Cinder, and it's bright and early here on the west coast of the U.S. I believe a more reasonable hour for you in Europe, but who do you think it's going to be, Sin? Game 4, do you think DK can push it to the limit, or we're just going to see a 3-1 romp here for IG?
I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. I think it's... With how one-sided these games have been and how much has come down to the overall strategy, I think it's hard to just choose a favorite for every game. I think it's... I wouldn't say it's a coin toss, but when all 3 games have been less than 30 minutes, that kind of indicates that it's just strategy winning most of the time. And the question is if DK can get their strategy back on track here.
Well,
I have a feeling you've tapped into the draft now.
I have.
So I can talk about it. Good. Look who the first pick is. It's going to be Faceless Void. And DK will get their Mirana again, so... I am starting to think stubborn is the right word.
I believe it's Burning who's been drafting today. Now, DK generally as a pretty... I'd say they draft as a team more than they just have, like, you know, a one guy just solo calling the shots kind of thing. They all talk a lot, but ultimately, you know, it is one person's vision of how the draft should go. It's only Burning clicking the buttons. Lamb's not, like, grabbing the mouse away from him. And he really believes in this Mirana, Cinder, and we're going to find out.
If you pick Mirana again, I'll smash my monitor.
Oh, that was such an epic moment. If you
love
haven't
it.
seen
Love
it, the DKIG Grand Finals for WPC Season 1 ended in rather explosive fashion when DK performed the reverse all kill and took it 4-3. I won't spoil it any further, but monitors were smashed, to put it mildly. So, yeah, this is really going to be a test for this idea of the support Mirana. DK believe in it. And not just the support Mirana, but like the support Mirana every game, no matter what, is a good pick. The other thing I guess that is possible is maybe they finally run it as a core, which I feel like that's one of the strengths of picking Mirana early. Like you were mentioning in the first game, you touched on this, it doesn't reveal your lanes or your draft, but with DK it kind of does, because they only run it as a support nowadays. So maybe they'll pick the Mirana this game, but they use it differently. And if they do that, I think it could affect how we evaluate this draft. But for now, I'm just going to assume it's the same old, and MMY will be playing it.
The only alternative I really see is to play it as a position 1, because I don't think DK will put that hero mid, and they already have Elder Titan for Ice 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 in the offlane. So... Well, I'm assuming it's going to be a support again. We'll see if he can make it work. My bigger concern right now for DK, actually, in more than that, is that I don't think Elder Titan is that good in the Dire offlane. So maybe they actually even have plans of running an aggressive trial lane and safe laning the Elder Titan, or they just accept the fact that it's pretty likely that Ice 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 will need a lot of recovery time. Elder Titan just doesn't have much to do in the Dire offlane, I feel. Do you agree with that? Or
yes,
so much better on
I definitely agree. But the one DK are aware of that, and they've tried some ways to kind of compensate for it in the past. So one thing they've done is sometimes they'll run Enigma, and they've had Lanham actually just start by farming the Ancient, so he'll keep on denying creeps from the offlane to pull the wave back a bit. They've also experimented with running Earthshaker as a support. I think less likely that we see that at this point. And if they do that, they just fissure block the wave, and you don't actually redirect the creeps, but it causes them to be closer to your own tower. So maybe they turn to something like that if they want to run the offlane Elder Titan. But I mean, with the Rubik Mirana, normally I'd just say this is the support duo for DK, and if that's the case, then I don't know. At that point, I'm with you, and I feel this Elder Titan's gonna have a rough time of it.
Oh, gonna have to see if DK has any sort of plan here against IG's lineup. I personally would love to see a Pugna pick to deal with these heroes from IG. Very high mana costs, very low health pools as well. Maybe Void is the exception here, but against both Death Prophet and Shadow Shaman, I think Pugna could actually work very well. And more importantly, DK need to not fall into the trap of just losing to raw push, and they should know what they're fighting into. This is the exact same lineup, pretty much, that they ran in Game 2, and has a lot of similarities with what IG ran in Game 3. Viper will be the next pick for IG. It's almost certain. Find a way of dealing with that type of push strategy. Either you get good split push, you get really good early game gankers, so you can put IG on the back foot, or you get so significant team fight that you actually have a chance of fighting into that. But that's going to be really hard, but Pugna could be the pocket pick to do it here.
Yeah, and the thing is they picked Elder Titan already, who is a decent hero to D-push, but he doesn't give you that team fight until later on. He needs more levels than, say, like a Tidehunter to really engage, and So, I mean, a lot of the ideal heroes to counter initiate are heroes like Tide that are, gonna fill a
Oh
similar
yeah, he
role.
went through.
Yeah,
That's true.
he's
Actually, yeah.
been banned the past few games, but and I think in the second stage usually, but yeah, I don't know what did DK do here.
10
In
seconds
terms of
remaining.
counter push, there is the
Assessing.
Nature's Prophet, not something they
Well,
run often.
IG's
they,
turn to
they're
fight.
doing the exact same thing that IG did in game two and just got crushed by. They're picking the TA now against Shadow Shaman and Death Prophet. And we criticized
Yeah,
IG for that. I'm trying to figure out what the reasoning is behind this. I'm not seeing it. She's good in lane against DP if it's just a flat out one-on-one, but when you get to the mid game, DP will still get farmed with Crypt Swarm. And when you get to the mid game, it's going to get really hard for TA here. I was thinking DK could pick up the Pugna because this is actually a classic strategy from them. I think we've seen it a couple of times in the past where they run Pugna with Elder Titan. So you drop the natural order in the middle of the team fight, and then the Nether Ward actually deals pure damage instead of magical when you think about it. All the
yeah.
magic resistance removed. So if you cast a spell that costs, what is the amplifier on Pugna Ward again? Is it like 2? It's so high now. It's
1.8 or
unbelievable.
something. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so it's
close to
almost
2.
2. So if Shadow Shaman uses his
10
ult, he pretty much
seconds
dies for just casting his ult
I,
level 2, right?
I'm concerned here
5
because
seconds
you're not even
remaining.
gonna get the Death Prophet versus TA necessarily. You may get a Viper versus TA, and we saw already that
Reserve
this
time.
is a very difficult matchup for TA, even in the lane, let
IG's
alone
turn to
later
ban.
on in the game. And what are DK gonna do? They actually ban out the Ancient
DK's
Apparition,
turn to pick.
which I don't know that IG would have gone for that. I feel like they'll just get something that's a little bit more like a reliable early game lockdown. But well, either way, what a DK pick. This last pick has to do a lot. It has to either deal with the push or just split push like crazy so they can win the lanes. And I don't. Do they like maybe look at Nature's Prophet and yeah, no, anti-mage. Okay. I was gonna say like, and then I'm like, wait, how do they even lane that? I don't know. So, AM is the choice here. It is split push, but can they? Can he get online in time? That is going to be the tricky question. And even if he does, IG are pretty good at dealing with AM. They have
Yeah,
Chronosphere and they have Shadow Shaman. So even if this goes late, it's not like AM is a guaranteed trump card.
these two last picks for DK do not intuitively make sense to me. So again, like in the previous game, I'm waiting to be surprised by something I'm not seeing. In the last game, we didn't really get to see it either. They kind of just lost.
5 seconds.
And this time
remaining.
around, I'm also not seeing it here. This is so greedy against a full mid-game pushing teamfight lineup. Who is buying the time here for DK? You've got Natural Order with Astral Spirit as wave clear, and you've got Fate Bolt.
They have
That's
like
it.
no D push at all.
They cannot stop this Death Ball. This could be another 20-minute game. I
It,
think this is the most one-sided draft for me. But
I,
we'll see if DK can surprise here.
it's almost like Burning is like trying to test the push MMY to his absolute limits on the Murata. Can he win the game for DK in the laning stage? Because if he can't, it does feel like IG can run them over. I don't see TA winning her lane against Viper. I I don't really see DK stopping the push in the mid game, and then at that point, Elder Titan offlane's not going to do that well. So, Sin, for me, it's got to be the Mirana and Rubik who just win the laning stage, and they have to do it by a huge margin, not just a little bit.
Yeah.
Even running AM safe lane 1v1 against Void, that's not really the best matchup for AM. Void has really high base damage. He can trade hits effectively. If your supports gank him and he's out of mana, maybe you can kill him, but left unchecked, the Void is gonna bully AM and shut down his farm at least a decent amount. So I don't see any clear lane wins for DK if they're just static about their lanes, and that means it's all Mirana or it's go big or go home for MMY, I guess.
And so the question is now if
10 seconds
Invictus see
remaining.
that opening and either they get a support Tide to just completely finish it or some other lane support. They're going to get Lich. I was thinking either Tide or Shaker could have actually just worked. Like you said, they just need to not get killed around their lanes and maybe those two supports could do it. But Lich can serve the same purpose here. Hold the lanes back, make sure you get some farm in your lanes, and then when it comes to the push team fight mid game, you have Chain Frost together with the Chronosphere. We've seen it before in a previous game from IG. And you've got the Ice Armor. Just a very, very solid draft once again coming out for IG, and well, we're gonna see if DK can make it work. I'm completely with you. It's gonna be Mirana and Rubik making this game. I think they're the two heroes to watch. If it's like in game number one, I think DK will just if IG read their movements as well as they did in game number one, I don't see DK winning this game. But if they get caught out by surprise, DK get a little bit ahead. They have a great late game lineup for sure. Like Natural
Oh
order
yeah.
together with TA and AM, you're gonna kill stuff.
5
That's just
seconds
a given,
remaining.
but you need to get there.
You're gonna kill stuff. Well, we've got the bold words from Cinder if we get to late game, but yeah, they've got plenty of damage late game, and not even we haven't even talked about the Elder Titan, who's gonna make the TA hit insanely hard. You know, the other thing where I like TA picks on Dire because of the Roshan access, and that's one of the I think the main reasons we see her picked up. But the issue is your Rosh potential is fairly limited if you lose towers really early, and I could see. I mean, we talked about IG's push. It's not unlikely that DK lose their tier 1 mid and bottom, maybe even the tier 2 bottom within the first 15 minutes. At which point, can you sneak Rosh? Then I'm not so sure. So that's my other concern with this TA pick. On paper, helps you take the Rosh, but in practice, I don't know if they even get a chance at it. Well, with that being said, Cinderin, I've been bad luck for DK, so I'm gonna switch it up in hopes of getting a game 5, and I'll introduce IG. We've got YYF as the Faceless Void, 430 playing the solo mid Viper, Faith playing the support Lich. Safe lane goes Luo as the Death Prophet with quite a distracting cape, I gotta
30
say. And
seconds to
last but
battle.
not least, we do have Chuan with the sombrero on the safe lane support Shadow Shaman.
And going over to DK, you're going to introduce them as well because I'm lagging and I'm trying to reconnect.
All right, well, I guess it's gonna be a clean 3-1 victory for IG, guys. Sorry, Cinderin has secretly got his rares here on IG. I
Okay, the
tried.
heroes are moving. Good.
I tried.
I'm good.
All right,
I'll
Ice
actually go over it.
on the Elder Titan. We've got Lanham on the Rubik.
The battle
MMY,
begins.
oh, the man who's got to do a lot of heavy lifting on that support Murana. Mushi as the solo mid TA, rushing the bottle, and that does leave Burning as the off-lane anti-mage. So they are trying to dodge some pressure on him. I guess they want to just dodge the Lich Denies for Burning more than anything.
Yeah, this is a very, very peculiar laning. It almost looks like from the start that DK, it feels like they already think from the draft that they need to do something out of the ordinary to win this game. That's kind of what I read into it with how they put their lanes. When's the last time you've seen Burning off lane with Anti-Mage? It has happened before, and then it's been a trade-off to get some really important hero farm, and I actually like the idea here, because I think Elder Titan needs to come online early here for them to even stand a fighting chance. It's good if they free farm the AM, but if Elder Titan doesn't do much, then... I mean, if you get a 12 or 13-minute Battle Fury, that could be the point when you've lost 3 or 4 towers, and then it's going to be too late for the Manta anyway, so... Maybe get the Elder Titan some farm so you have high-level Astral, and maybe you can defend.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing to mention about IG's draft is they push really hard, but they don't push really hard in the laning stage. So
Yeah.
you can run this off lane AM, and normally if it's like, say, an Enchantress type of lineup where you just get the 2-3 creeps, they could take the tower at like 2 minutes if they wanted to. Maybe even go for 2 against an AM off lane, but I think the AM off lane, he won't lose the tower early. Obviously, like you said, his farm will suffer though, so... So up against 2 ranged heroes, there's a lot of annoying lockdown from the Shadow Shaman, and yeah, we'll just see if they get the trades they're looking for, Sind, I guess. And the mid lane, it's going to be a tough matchup here for DK if they just do the 1v1. TA versus Viper, we've seen this movie before, and it's not going to end well, most likely for Mushi if he's left alone. So I think overall, I still favor IG a bit in the lanes, but like you said, I think it's a good adjustment from DK, prioritizing Elder Titan over AM, because Elder Titan is their only real 5-man / D push that they have, so they need him to have a good start.
The problem they're going to have, though, is if they just leave Elder Titan solo up top, I think he's actually also going to get very little, since he's against a Lich dual lane. Faith will just keep him away with Frostblast and just harass him, and YYF will hold the lane. So I think the problem DK have right now from the get-go is that they want to help out the Anti-Mage get a good start in the bottom lane and maybe get a gank or 2, but I also don't think they can just leave Ice 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 alone. Then he's gonna get sacrificed too much. Or, I mean, he's not going to get as much as they would like. They need one of the supports up here. Maybe a dual lane setup could work here.
Well, we're going to see Lanham rotate in bottom lane. He's picked up an Invis. Unfortunately, well, there's a Radiant Sentry and Observer, and the pings come out. They know he's here. I'm not sure. I think they saw that rune get picked up because they have this Observer ward, I believe, but I'm not sure if they actually saw... if they dropped the Sentry just for that, or if they were trying to D-ward. I didn't see when it got dropped, but... Either way, the early level 1 Invis is not going to amount to anything, it looks like.
Yeah, at the very least, DP isn't going to get too much farm, though, so that's a good thing about this tri-lane for DK, is that that's one of the crucial heroes in, of course, the base pushing for IG. And if Chuan also gets locked down by this tri-lane, then I would say the 2 most important heroes for IG for taking these towers at like minute 10 to 20 are going to lose a lot of farm and levels, so... if that's the trade-off DK get, perhaps it's good enough. Even though Ice 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 will have a hard time, at least two of the key heroes for IG will definitely suffer as well.
Yeah, at the same time, if IG are on the defensive and Lich and Void have a good start, those heroes are their ideal defensive duo. But Chuan is really suffering here. Burning is driving him back all the way into the next creep wave. Then an arrow will be let loose, and Burning continues pursuit. He's got superior base move speed by 30, but it's not enough to find the kill. Meanwhile, Luo is tanking creeps and trying to keep the aggro off his tower. Burning and Lanham will draw a double wave back. It's too much to fight against. And their wave is going to push into the tower, so they are giving away a lot of experience with this attempt at a first blood.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, for Shadow Shaman support, that's all you really need. It's really great to get Arcane Boots and a Blink Dagger, of course, but in the type of strategy IG have, they actually don't even need Chuan to be an initiator. He just needs to go to a tower, drop the wards, Ether Shock whoever comes in, and then if he has a Shackle, that's great, but it might not even be necessary, so...
By the way,
he
Sin,
cares way more about XP.
They double sentry to try and de-ward, and they missed on both sentries. I don't know if you're seeing this. They're just out of range. That is just so frustrating for DK.
Wow.
I didn't actually see these get dropped down initially, but that's the pain. The pain.
And very wise play here from Chuan. He pulls the wave on, but he does not follow through because he knows the supports are missing. So kind of the story we've seen in the other games is that IG really analyzing DK's movements well, and he will rather sacrifice a little bit of farm here for DK supports than get killed and sacrifice the farm. So good decision once again.
Yeah, he's playing it just right. And I guess we should quickly look at the other lanes before a potential first blood breaks out. Oh, some harassment on Burning. They're not going to be able to kill him off, but the Void is free farming top lane, and the Elder Titan is doing decent for levels, but not getting much in terms of creep farm. DK still looking for an opening, and in the mid lane, it's actually closer than the last time we saw the TA Viper match. But I think the one difference here is the TA got a better block than the last time. She was actually closer to her hill when it started, so maybe that's the difference. Arrow, it actually will find Luo. This could be our first blood. They'll leap in now, but Chuan's going to go on Lanham, who wants to get the lift off. Unfortunately, he's already gotten it off. Now Luo driven back to the tower. He's one hit from death, but he will end up living Faith with the timely TPN. Oh, Luo lives by the skin of his teeth. Still, though, he is going to be forced back to base and a TP forced out, so this will open up the top lane a bit for the Elder Titan.
Yeah, such a good Shackle from Chuan as well. Choosing the right target really, really quickly there to keep Luo alive. So nicely done here. Of course, DK will force the TP from Faith, like you said, so because of that, Ice is going to have a better time, but is that better time good enough? He's still getting forced out by YYF up here, who has the treads advantage and is incredibly good at using backtrack, apparently. Oh, okay, just didn't hit first. But he's also up a salve, which he'll probably have to use now. This is... I'm actually not sure if there's going to be a clear winner in this lane. Okay, they're actually moving Burning. They've swapped him up top, so...
Well, I guess Ice is now at a point where now he can sit in the off lane. Level 5 is... It's a lot harder to shut him down. So maybe the thinking here is we just need to get Ice some early levels so he can actually bully the supports a bit, and then we can put him off lane to make up for the Dire off lane being a bit weaker.
An arrow.
They find 430, but is there follow-up for this one? He's going to drop his ultimate on Mushi, throws out the meld. It's just enough for the kill. He will die immediately thereafter, but the first blood goes to the Rubik. No experience for 430, so a very important win for DK.
Yeah, that was starting to look scary for DK, actually. He had a DD on the Viper and got his ultimate off, so if he would have killed Mushi a little bit faster there, perhaps he gets one or two more attacks off on one of the other heroes, and that could have turned out to an absolute disaster. But they get a 1-for-1, and they get the first blood, so I guess all in all they're going to be okay with this, even though generally when you gank 3-on-1, you want to just get the kill and have no casualties, but it is a hard lane.
Yeah, and they do make the full lane switch. Elder Titan's going to rotate bottom. No surprises there. Start at level 5. He throws out the Spirit, starts harassing Luo a bit, and I honestly feel like if nobody else is in this lane, he can just straight up win the lane against Death Prophet. You see him come in, clubs her twice. That's about half her health gone to a single Spirit and a few right clicks. She's going to need support in this lane, but those supports are nowhere to be found. Chuan's off near the top rune, Faith's there as well. Maybe waiting for the 6-minute rune, and now they've rotated in MMY once again. They'll be looking for an arrow. This one has not been spotted. That Radiant Observer Ward in the trees. MMY is going to try and dodge its watchful gaze by heading the opposite side of the lane. So this could work. Arrow's going to fly. No. I think I jinxed him. It's off the mark. Sorry, DK.
Oh, she gets a haste. This is big, though. This is... They need to use this for a kill. It allows him to pretty much ignore the slow of Viper. Of course, he still takes the damage over time, but he can now chase him down effectively. And if there's any sort of support coming in for a gank, he can very easily reach his Melt Strike and then see if he can try to get some sort of damage out of the Refraction. But right now he's being bullied away here by Ferrari, taking so much damage right now. But
By the way,
not using the haste wisely.
Burning is actually leading in CS. He's 31 and 10, despite the lane rotation and the pressure he was under early on. He's still doing pretty well, since the lane swap, I should say. But he's still doing very well here. So they're getting a farmed AM. The Elder Titan's honestly having a great start, and I think this is the best possible beginning DK could have hoped for. Now they're going to find Faith. He does not have Chain Frost yet, which means an easy kill on the Lich. No real pressure there, and even force out a... Well, why we have to just sit back, I guess. I thought they rotated, but no. 430 and Schwann still sitting mid.
Yeah, I agree. This is the best thing that could have happened for DK, and the way they put their lanes and how they rotated, this is the kind of play you're looking for out of DK, that they're making the right calls, which I think in some of the games today has just, strategically not making the right decisions has been a problem. Now bottom lane, Mushi taking so much damage. Goodbye. Easy kill for YYF here with a good rotation, but...
They're gonna look for more. Schwann's got Shackles. This could be the death of Ice Slice. He drops the Spirit to get himself some move speed, but if they get a Bash, I think one Bash will do it. No, not even needed. Faith already with the level 3 Frost Blast, and that's the 2 for nil exchange there for IG, so... And getting 2 crucial heroes, the TA and the Elder Titan. 2 cores down, a Shadow Shaman almost... Well, he's 1 level away from 6, and...
Yeah, and Lich is 6.
With that, the push will come. Even with this good start, DK, the question for the next 10 minutes will be, is the start good enough?
And when does Ferrari get his mech? He has the Buckler, and he's gonna get ganked now.
Well, they go in on him, but he got off the ultimate. The arrow deftly dodged, and that'll actually be enough to get him out safely. If that had connected, they get the kill, but just barely managed to escape it. Ice is going in bottom lane. He doesn't actually... He's only level 7, but he's just going to start clubbing. Unfortunately, he's tanking the Death Prophet ultimate. He's going to go down. A miscalculation from Ice. He thought he could get the kill, but Luo just played him like a fiddle, and that's a costly death. That's now 3 deaths for the cores of DK, and a great start is now rubber banding the other direction.
Yeah, they built about 1,500 gold, and then they lost it over the last 2 minutes, so... And 2,000 experience now going IG's way, too, and... Before the game started, we said DK have to get off to a good start, because this push will come, and... With that failed gang on Ferrari, I think that's actually a bigger deal than Ice dying, is that they did not get Ferrari in the mid lane. They need to delay the mech so that IG can't go for this comfortable push that they're looking for, but now he's only 700 gold away from that. I have a really bad feeling for DK here, unless if Ice gets to a point when he does not only have Astral and Natural Order, but also starts getting his other spells so they can actually defend with them.
And the other thing is that the age of Mirana having her best impact is waning now. She'll get Moonlight Shadow, maybe they can go for some ganks, but most of the time, as we see IG smoked up and rotating up the river, most of the time IG are going to be 5-man. Even if you hit an arrow, you really can't go in on them. They have their ultimates, the mech, and so forth, so I feel like this is where the support Mirana is going to start to drop, but yeah, they go in on Mushi with the smoke. They'll drop the Viper ultimate as well, and then they zap him, just securing the kill there. Nicely done. That's going to give Schwann his level 6, and the wards are now online. The Death Prophet ultimate is cooling down, and the mech is there in 300 gold. Now make it 100 as they take the tower, going the way of Schwann. Sind, they might have had a slow start for IG, but all the building blocks for the incredibly scary Deathball push are now officially online.
I really want to commend IG on how they're playing the supports over the entire series we've seen so far. I think in every single game, IG supports have got more done in the early game. They've got more experience, they've executed the ganks well, and their timings are just perfect. We're seeing it again this time around. Faith is level 7, Schwann's level 6. For DK, Lanham's level 4, and MMY is level 4. So again, huge discrepancy between the supports, and that is generally what makes or breaks the early game, is do the supports get ahead of the enemy team supports? The cores are often pretty even, like you see Viper is 54 CS and Anti-Mage is 64, but that 10 CS difference compared to 4 levels across the supports, that's a no-brainer. It's a huge lead for IG, and they also will now have the mech, I think, for Ferrari. Yes, it's coming out right now. Ice needs to hit some really sick stomps when he gets that available, and they need the arrows to land, else I cannot imagine how DK take fights without hitting. I think the arrows actually need to hit every time. It's really a lot of pressure to play
just purely to stall IG, if nothing else. Like, even if they're not getting kills, just every second here is going to matter for DK. it might look like a calm opening, but we're about to see a storm brewing. IG, I don't really see any reason for them not to start pushing now. The mech has been picked up at this point. They have the drums on Luo. They've really got all the tools here. And I guess the one concern is just giving Burning the tier 1 top is going to give him an earlier Battle Fury, but I don't think they actually need Ice Ice Ice. They could push with just 3 or 4, just drop the wards, have the mech there. They can have 1 or 2 still defending the top lane if they want, but they're not ready to go yet, it seems. IG are waiting for something. As they start to group up mid, they do have a smoke, and, well, I guess that was it. They just want to get quickly into the top lane. In doing so, they'll also avoid the attempt from DK, who smoked up. Theirs will wear off. They wanted to go on the mid lane, but they just don't find anything, and I guess for DK, they got to trade now, Sin. They're going to send 4 bottom, the AM's going to go mid, and they are not going to be trading towers very efficiently, I feel, but they got to try for it, because they're not defending them right now.
If they can trade even tier towers, I think it's really good for them. Burning is going to have his Battle Fury in 200 gold, so that's after this creep wave, so about 13 minutes. Just, I guess you could say really, really good, like you mentioned with how the lanes went down and everything, so it's going to be Hex, though. Oh. Okay, I'm having animation lags, but yeah, he did blink out. Okay.
Yeah, they Hex, they could not get off the shackles, and it's only the level 1 Hex, and unlike the Lion level 1 Hex, it's very short duration. 1.25 seconds, yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it really is. I do like that change, though, because it just opens up your skill build a lot for Lion. You can take more points of mana drain, and also you're much scarier as an early roamer, so yeah, it gives people more reasons to pick Lion over Shadow Shaman, whereas before, wards are just too strong. But, well, IG they're going now. They have been really slow, honestly, to group. And DK
they lost their bottom tier 1, and Burning is pushing for tier 2. His Battle Fury is going to fly out. He's got the Quelling Blade too, so he'll be farming fast. DK might have bought enough time for now. I'm still not convinced, but this is looking better than I thought it would at this point for them.
I'm surprised IG tried to be so cute. Like, to me, they don't need to fight kills. It looks like 430 has dropped his ultimate at Lun Lanham, tries to run him down. Like, they could have... Oh, Chronosphere. Available. YYF not dropping it just yet. He's been tossed back towards the tower. They continue to stall very effectively while IG are busy hunting kills. Burning is pushing in the bottom lane. Mushi's working on mid. A DD rune almost brought down the tier 1. I don't think they need to be cute. Like, a lot of drafts you'll see you want to, like, get a pick off and then you push. But IG, to me, could just straight death ball. 5-man, drop wards, pop death prevalent, just take the tier 2s. Like, they don't need to be clever about it.
Yeah, but then again, if DK are doing this really effective split push here with both TA and Entomage on the lane each, they don't really have the time to take more than 1 tower at a time, right? They got the tier 1 top, they have to back off. That's another 2 or 3 minutes for Burning to farm. And if they can continue that pattern, Burning forgot his boots. Burning, your boots are here. Why are you... It kind of fits his model with having that kind of band around his eyes. He's like the blind monk without any boots as well, but... Go get your boots, dude.
Does he know where they are? He may have just lost track of them.
Uh-oh.
This is a problem. Like, not having your boots, the treads are delayed a bit more, and your farm curve really doesn't accelerate until you get them. Oh, he's off to the side shop now. Maybe he's hiding his boots in, so they don't know he's got them. It's next level shenanigans. Oh, Chronos here will find Lanham. They've gone around for the backstab, and he'll quickly melt, but they're looking for a bit more. They're chasing towards MMY. There's still one lurking in the trees. No, Ice 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 is TP'd up. He found them.
This is like the ultimate irony. He just bought boots in the side shop, and then he walked past his boots, and he didn't notice them.
Oh, no, these are new boots. No, he's got 2 boots. This is never... What? I've never seen this from Burning.
Oh, so I heard there was a shoe sale burning. It's gonna pick up his treads. Oh man, that's gotta suck.
One for each foot, man.
Under.
Oh no, the chain frost comes through. Ice 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 dropping pretty fast, 430. Gonna try and pursue him out, then he backs off for Mushi, a little indecisive about his target. Refraction has been removed. There is a meld available though. One more nuke will bring him down, and Ice 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 does end up living. So they lose the TA, they keep the Elder Titan alive. What? Oh my.
He's gonna get really frustrated with himself after this game if it turns out those 225 gold make the difference with whether he gets his Manta or not, for example.
Yeah, like imagine if he doesn't have Manta or he doesn't have buyback when he needs it. That would just be the stupidest way to lose a game.
Nothing hitting.
But here comes the Deathfall, and they need to move Burning away from this lane. He's got to be off split pushing. He knows it. He heads towards mid. Actually blinking over the Roche pit, and meanwhile wards get dropped. IG, the systematic dismantling will begin now, and for DK it's just a stall. Even if they hit an arrow, they're not going in on that. They're just gonna let the towers fall. I am a little surprised IG dropped wards for tier 1. I feel they could have saved them for tier 2, but...
Oh, they used Death Prophet ult for one and the wards for the other, which I think is really good. They didn't use Exorcism, so maybe they thought that was...
They found Burning, but they're not gonna... Are they in range for Chronosphere? No, he's already gone.
No.
Yeah, that's true. Also, I guess they had to back because Burning is split pushing. Well, he gets caught out with the rune here, but he's got to blink in 1 second, so he can just leap away. You know, the other thing, Sind, is if it does turn into a split push game, Void and Shadow Shaman are very good at hunting AM. Once they get a blink on the Shadow Shaman, they... It's not like Burning is just completely safe to split push this game.
Yeah, his net worth also isn't that far ahead of the others. He's had the Battle Fury for 4 minutes, and this is generally when you see AM maybe gaining... I wouldn't say several hundred net worth on other carries, of course, per minute, but at least some on a Void and a Viper who don't have good farming capabilities when Void doesn't go Battle Fury or a Midas. But he's not really gaining. He's only 400 gold ahead of Viper, 700 ahead of DP, and 1,000 ahead of Void, so his advantage isn't going to be any significant yet. And the question is, can they buy the time, MMY? Okay, goodbye.
Yeah,
Mr. Chrono was expended for that.
To be fair, what is your level 4 Mirana doing? Even if she's alive, but now they're giving away extra gold as well, so obviously not ideal for DK and IG. They're 2 more pushes from cracking all the outer towers, and then Roche is easy. I think the tier 2 bottom's next. If they want to just try to go straight into Roche, they probably can, but I see no reason to risk it and let DK potentially steal it with a blink. So we'll probably just see them systematically continue to wear down these outer towers.
Yeah, there's only 2 left. Bottom tier 2, they're full HP, both of them, so IG definitely needs to commit all 5 heroes to them, or at least 4.
And there's a glyph as well.
They really don't mind. If you're DK, you probably save the glyph for base. You don't use it for any of the tier 2s. You just accept the fact that you're going to lose all your outer towers, and then you pull out everything you have for your base defense. Looks like Burning is going for Vlad's. I get where he's coming from with trying to split push as much as possible, but I don't know if he's going to have the time to play this type of game.
Yeah.
But maybe he has to bank on it.
Yeah, it's like, how else are they going to win the game? Is Void coming to fights actually... Or, is AM coming to fights actually going to do anything? I don't know about that, so... Like you're saying, I think it might be too late, as IG are already looking to break high ground, but he's not going to win them a 5v5 clash at this stage of the game. In comes the arrow, the wards get dropped, and they do begin to work on the tower. The mech was used late, though, and this means most of the creep wave already nuked down. That's going to really neuter the push here for IG, not having creeps in the base. They have a few more for a few seconds, but they're sticking around at their own peril. With the tower beginning to work on heroes now, 430 will start to drop, albeit with ice armor, it's taking a while to kill him off. Mushi is cutting the wave. They're doing everything they can for DK just to slow this one down, but IG just say, you know what, screw it, we're going to stick around. Luo, very squishy without the ice armor currently on him. He's got to back off, and the wards will be cleaned up. Mushi still cutting the wave. Burning, still pressuring the top lane. DK playing this one about as solidly as you can. And it looks like IG will be rebuffed for now. They won't actually break high ground, but they're damn close. In round 2, it seems the base should fall.
Well, at the very least, DK did manage to get a tier 2 for Burning and some damage on the top tier 3, so that was a pretty good defense. And this is where Elder Titan really starts coming into play when he can pull that off. The Fate Bolt and the Astral Spirit doing a lot of work here, and at least buying them some more minutes. Now, if DK can manage to win a fight in their base, I think they could be taking the game, but that's what they need to do first, and that's the hardest part.
Uh-oh. So, Courier, I believe, was delivering something to Burning, and IG just sniped it on its way back to the base. So, with the Vlads, DK, the other thing is, not only does it help you split push, but it does help you Roche, and DK are going to try and sneak one. They've got the Medallion on MMY with the Vlads here. They're all at full HP, and Roche is about to fall. DK might just pull a really sneaky play out of the book, and indeed they will. Burning's going to snag the Aegis. That is a big turn of events for DK.
Yeah, really, really smart play here to see the opening in the map. I think IG is so focused on the base that they completely forget about the other objectives on the map.
Or they may just not care. They're like, you know what?
Yeah, that's
give
possible.
Give the AM an Aegis, and we'll still push it. But yeah, it's obviously not ideal.
Well, this is when... Now we're starting to reach the point when Burning is pulling ahead. Just 3 minutes ago, he was a few hundred ahead of the other heroes. Now he's 3,000 ahead of the Viper. And Chuan,
He's getting caught out here on the backside as YYF comes in. He's going to chrono up 2 heroes. Burning and Mushi trapped together. It's the Chain Frost. Bounces between them, but it's really not doing that much, even with the perfect chrono. Burning still standing strong. He's actually going to leap away. MMY now also being pursued out, and the siege begins in earnest. Lanham, what has he stolen here? It's just the Viper Strike. Not really the best spell to repel this push on its own. The wards have been deployed. Everything thrown out by IG, and they'll focus here on the melee. They lost their TA earlier. Bernie will come in. He's already used Mana Void, though. He does bring down one. The Earth Splitter connects. It's going to be a lane of Rex, but it could be a very expensive one. YYF on the retreat out. Bernie's going to clean him up, give him a double kill. He's looking for more, and he still has Aegis. Frost Armor on 430, really keeping him alive, though. I think they get this kill, but it will take them a while, and they do lose a full lane of Rex in exchange. With the Frost Armor on 430, it's just such a slow kill.
live.
Yeah, actually, maybe they don't get the kill. They're still chasing. Mana Void's going to cool down at the rate this fight is going. There's no way to cancel this TP, and they can't actually kill up 430. He's able to TP out. Chuan, probably not so lucky. One more slice of those blades, one more club. Enough to secure the kill in the end, and, well, Burning continues the pursuit. Mana Void, 2 seconds off. I think he can go for this kill. Mana Void, how much will it do here? It's almost Faith's entire HP pool. And now this is a gem down if Burning can get it off. No, unable to. Well, Sind, was that good enough for IG? They did lose a lot to take that. It wasn't even a full lane, just that first melee Rex. What do you think?
Yeah, I was saying if DK win a fight, that they could probably still do this. And they did win the fight. They only lost 1 Rex, and Burning is getting big, so definitely still hope here for DK. And the problem they're facing is just that if they have one bad fight, the game's just flat out over. IG has more room to make mistakes right now. DK kind of have to play the perfect game, and that kind of pick-off is not the biggest deal in the world, but then again, IG didn't use anything, so it's basically just bonus gold for them, and I think they're going bottom tier 2. I think they're going to get it for free, but Burning will have Manta next fight. He's getting there. This is getting pretty exciting, more exciting than I thought it would.
Yeah, I feel like IG, like you said, were a little too focused on just taking the Rex, and could have just calmly secured Roche first before doing so, but well, DK caught them off guard, and that is the power of the TA and Medallion pickup. I mean, to be honest, that was a big gamble from DK going for the Roche like that, where they don't have much map control. Their vision on the map was virtually non-existent, and had IG been a little more prepared, they could jump in, steal the Aegis with Chrono, and if not wipe DK, then at the very least get a kill or two. And at that point, you're probably just, the game's just over. So DK gambled, it paid off, and like you said, it's turning into a pretty exciting game. DK on the ropes here, guys. If you're just joining us, if they lose, DK are out. They will be eliminated once again in a tournament grand finals by IG. That would make IG 2 for 2 in their last 2 major showdowns. So, well, we'll see if it comes to that. It's not over just yet.
Big items being picked up here. I don't know which item is more important. If it's probably the Manta style on AM more important than the BKB on Void at this point in the game. But with the BKB, Void doesn't need to be nervous about going in, and he just needs to get the Rubik. He needs to not get Chronosphere stolen here. That's very, very important that Lanham does not get that pickup. But with the BKB, he can just jump in on the Rubik and kill him. If he sees him, he should just go for that kill and start off the fight that way. It's going to create enough space for his team to follow through and get the wards down and get something done. But Burning is being absolute pestilence right now, forcing them back again. And do IG reach the base again in the near future is the real question here.
They've lost momentum, that's for sure. They took a lane of Rax, but they can't be content with this. The way they've itemized and built, I think IG's lineup is pretty damn strong late game, but Void has not gone for the early Midas. He's not gone for a Battle Fury. He's going for more of just an Initiator and single hero pickoff style build. Viper, also just building standard tank, and Death Prophet not going very greedy either with a BKB and a Force Staff. So, well, they'll find MMY. They bring him down with the Chrono, but it's a Chrono just for the support Mirana. I almost feel like it's a Fool's Gold to even be going for that kill, at least with the Chronosphere.
Yeah, and that's all they get. Burning has been pushing out mid lane again, so he's going to go top after this. And
it's not good enough to kill this Mirana at this point,
no.
I don't think.
The question is if they have some sort of way of splitting it. So they get a hero with Boots of Travel to stand and defend against the AM, but do they have any of their heroes who can one-on-one the AM at this point? Because of Void's build, I don't think he can. Viper can't stop the TP from AM at all. I don't know. I think they might have to do it with 2 people all the time, but then again, Burning is just... I think he might kill Tron here.
I saw him wind up to blink. I'm like, alright, he's gonna blink away, so I moved the camera north, but Burning's like, screw that. You're a Shadow Shaman Lich, what are you gonna do to me? He pops Tron, he gets out, and Oh, the burning AM is rearing its ugly head, and DK they're digging deep. They just have this knack for just when you think they're gonna lose a series, turning it. As I say that, Ice may get picked off mid. 430 narrowly clipped by the arrow, and MMY will bail out his friend in their moment of need. So DK, everything all of a sudden going their way.
Yeah, forcing the glyph bottom is Mushi, and the Aegis wasn't used now, so Burning is now exposed for to getting killed here, but he's getting so much gold now that he might soon reach the stage when they can't really kill him anymore. And it shouldn't be the goal of IG to kill AM anyway. The goal is to push the base, but the problem is if the only way they can do that is to kill AM first. He's looking at a heart within the next 3 minutes. Do they even have that damage? They're gonna need to use big ultimates for that kill, and then they can't push anyway.
That's the kind of situation where you need to catch him in the chrono, and then the Hex has to be reserved for right as it ends. But
Bot lane.
Meanwhile, they'll find a potentially bigger kill on Mushi. At least they'll make the go here. He can't blink out. He will refract, but still ticks down to the urn of the Lich, and Faith in the end will secure a kill. It's not that the TA is irrelevant, but even TA, I'm not sure if it's good enough, because the thing is, Burning just keeps on pushing the lanes. Like, the mid lane's at the base, but top lane's well pushed in. Bottom lane's still past the river. If they don't kill AM, I almost feel Burning can outsplit push their entire team.
This game has to go so incredibly late for DK to win, though. Even if Burning is very farmed here, his entire team is so far behind. He has twice the net worth, almost, of Mushi on second place. There's... How much space is he going to need to create before his team can actually take a real team fight and push high ground for DK here?
As well as he's playing now?
The defense of IG is good.
You know, I think Burning got mad when he bought that second pair of boots. I feel like he's in a fire lit under his ass, and he's gone Super Saiyan mode. He's leveled up, and he might find a courier here. Oh, did he spot it? Did he spot it? There's pinks coming out. That's got a Yasha. That's a pretty big courier kill. Burning. Oh. I guess he didn't see it. Well, now they find 430 bottom. They'll find the Viper anyway, and with the stolen Viper Strike, it's just an easy kill for Burning. Really nothing he can do about that. And Roche is coming fairly soon, and DK they might be doing just enough. I just feel like IG has zero momentum right now, to be honest.
It's just the three cores of DK constantly pushing all the lanes, and if they don't have any boots of travel, they can't deal with this. They can't gather up and hold their base at the same time, so I think we should be looking at a boots of travel as the next item for Void, even though he would probably love to get some more damage. IG needs to realize now that the way of winning this game is to hold lanes and then somehow get into the base, and I don't think there is any other solution than BOTs right now.
Arrow's gonna come through, Faith gets lifted up, tossed back into the arrow. Burning, however, will be hexed. Now the wards get deployed, but they don't go for a shackle. It's the chrono they want to drop on him. They'll let it fly. The chain frost, everything for Burning, and it's enough. They held everything in reserve. It took their entire battery of spells, and now he buys back, which means IG run the hell away, and they're looking for a Roche.
To do it again.
Yeah. They were hoping, I think, that the Roche would have been up by then, at which point it's a guaranteed Roche for them, but unfortunately, they'll have to settle for some ward farming instead.
It's 1.5 minutes, though. I don't think IG are going to be ready for this when it spawns, but the question is, will DK check it at the right time? They kind of need to go there instantly, else the cooldowns of the Radiant are up 70 seconds for Mass Serpent Wards, 78 for Exorcism. They can actually do it before Exorcism comes off cooldown, and then I don't think IG can kill AM. They need Exorcism for that kill.
Yeah, that was the absolute perfect initiation. They hex him, they drop the wards, they chrono him, he starts getting bashed inside of the chronosphere. Exorcism was on top of him, the wards were pounding away, and then, right as the chrono ends, they shackle him as well. So, that's perfect initiation, and they only barely killed Burning, and this is before his first real tank items in, so, yeah, I think you throw Aegis in the mix, and there's just no way they get him. They're looking for Mushi
buyback
top.
was actually a really big mistake, I think. As Mushi is going to get picked off once again. He's now 0-7. He's really not having the game of his life. But it is... I'm not surprised. This TA pick was kind of dooming yourself. Yeah. But the buyback from Burning, there was no danger of them losing anything. They knew Roshan wasn't alive. They knew there was no push that was going to bring a tower with it. So not only did he buy back and use the gold for that, but he also couldn't farm anyway because of obviously the buyback penalty. So he just wasted 2 minutes by doing that buyback right there, which is really huge because else he would have had his heart right now.
And IG are going to walk into the pit the second that the Roche respawns. Oh no. No sneaky Roche for DK. They're going to deploy the wards. The Death Prophet ult will come out, and if DK want to fight into this, they do it with Burning, not having buyback for 4 minutes. So a lost fight here might just be a second lane of Rex. Well, there are tier 2 standing, but they'll be without the AM for a very long time, and it seems DK don't want to go into the pit. Does Burning go for the Aegis steal? YYF is hunting now. Lana will blink away. The Chrono gets airballed. He hesitates a bit too long. And, well, they still get the Aegis. That's the main thing. So IG, they'll have to wait a minute and a half, but that's so big for IG. They walk into the pit. It was literally the second it respawned, and a lot of DK's turnaround, I feel, came down to that earlier Roche sneak, but Sind, there's no sneak here. DK are not able to sneak one on IG, and IG clearly showing that if it's a 5v5, DK are not going to risk a fight against them yet.
The thing about this Roche, though, is that the Aegis is... It's not so much about IG getting it as it's about DK not getting it. I think that's the most important thing. Just the fact that Burning can't play this in a cocky way now, since he doesn't have buyback and he doesn't have a second life, this might disallow him from pushing like he wants to and could allow IG to go for the base. I don't think... I think if Ferrari has to use the Aegis in the fight, it's a lost fight anyway, because he shouldn't be taking that much damage. Sure, they can choose to push in a little bit of a different way since they know he can frontline tank, but I don't think DK will go on him anyway. They don't want to open on the Viper. That's the worst initiation they can get. The only thing DK needs is for the fight to not break out in the first place, and so far so good. They forced Luo back again.
Yeah, and if it goes late, I mean, IG taking Roche there buys them time to farm, and they're a pretty good late game lineup in their own right. I think the main thing was they were just getting out-farmed and out-pressured completely, but Death Prophet, Viper, Void late game, I think that out-carries this AM, unless he's just out-maneuvering them. But in terms of raw DPS, I think IG would come out on top there. And they've certainly got the lockdown for the AM, so IG, I still feel the more robust overall lineup right now, and it doesn't help that Mushi's 0-7. He's not going to be a hitter in these fights. He's likely just to die to collateral damage, and as we mentioned later on in the game against the Viper Death Prophet, TA is just not very strong. Refraction is useless, and at that point, it's Elder Titan and it's AM as all your damage. So if you lose one to a Chrono, the fight's probably over. DK are still in a tough position here, even after what looked to be the makings of a great turnaround. Another with Chrono by YYF though. At least this time he didn't hesitate. Burning's too quick, but he didn't leap in and then thinks about it for a second and then Chrono, so I'll give him that. But he still missed it.
Burning is playing this so well. The only thing I can really put a finger on was his buyback, which I don't think he should have gone for, but the rest of the play is really textbook. He's constantly pressuring the lane so that IG have to go back, and every time YYF uses a Chrono, it's not just the Chrono going on cooldown. He actually doesn't have enough mana to cast it again. So when it's up again in 70 seconds, he needs some sort of solution for his mana issues. He needs either to get Arcane Boots from the Shadow Shaman, or he needs to go back to base, which is kind of, especially now that Burning just decided to show up and wail on him here. So it's kind of a big problem, but Burning needs to not get overconfident here, and he won't. Yeah, look at the level chart, by the way. Burning is the same level as more than his two supports combined. Well, this is pretty unusual.
This also means his buyback's gonna be getting more and more costly, and if he ever dies and buys back and then dies again, he's dead forever. It's kind of a double-edged sword with the way this game's developed for DK. Bernie being this high level is great, but if he ever falters, so much more devastating than if they have like two heroes who are reasonably farmed. Well, yeah, we'll see how it develops. For now, Menta comes out for 430. The Heart's online for the AM.
And Mushi has 5,000.
It's actually quite a late Heart, considering the early game for Burning. Normally, he'd have the Heart and something else. As, meanwhile, mid lane, he will get caught out. They're going to shackle him, but immediately, that gets canceled. BKB from the Void. The Chrono is available. Now been used. The Death Prophet ult might be enough. They'll throw out a Chain Frost. They get the Burning kill again. IG. Too much burst. Too much lockdown. And Burning was unable to make his way out. I thought he had a second there to blink away, but the Death Prophet silence clipped him, and he wasn't able to make his escape.
Yeah, that's probably another lane of Rax. That's 80 seconds. Death Prophet ult will end.
There's no tier 2. Actually, the tier 2s are still up, though.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They can't even go in.
This is very fortunate for DK.
They might go for the GG.
Do they go Throne? They don't have wards. They don't have Death Prophet. It's a pretty slow push, but Burning's dead for a minute, and he actually doesn't have buyback. IG might have just found a surprisingly easy tier 4 tower. They'll attempt to go for it, but a beautiful stomp by Ice 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 is going to slow down the push. I think this is a bit too ambitious, but we'll see. They keep on sieging. Death Prophet ult still a full minute off, which means Bernie will be up in time. No Shadow Shaman wards for a minute either. They've really got nothing except just right-clicking towers. They're going to throw away the Aegis here. Faith will catch an arrow, and they will respawn Ferrari momentarily. He finds Lanham. He's going to go in. That's an easy kill. And it's not really stalling either, because he wanted to lose this Aegis. He'll succeed in doing so. The tower will fall. It's only a single tier 4. Do IG really still stick around? AM up in 25 seconds. They've taken a tier 4, but, well, 430 keeps on going. Another arrow, just off the mark this time. He's just tanking the tower. They're right-clicking towers now with a Viper. And, well, Ice will find an opening. Mushi's going to pay the price, though. Lich buys back instantly. So too does Mushi. And now they're going in earnest onto it. But 9 seconds until Bernie respawns. IG are playing with fire if they stick around. Will they do it? Trap onto 430. They'll respawn in 2, 1. He's up again. Now they'll have to retreat, and they'll make their way out immediately. 430, though, being pursued out. He'll get stomped here. A beautiful stomp that sets up an arrow. Probably the death of 430. AM comes roaring in, and Birdie wants some vengeance. He'll find it in this kill. In the Ensign, they get a Rain Tracks, which was almost certainly going to die at some point anyway, and they get a tier 4. DK, they hang on. Imagine if the tier 2 was down. I think that was game otherwise.
This level 4 Echo Stomp is buying them so much time with those 5-second sleeps.
And he's getting them on like 2-3
is really
heroes
the hero
every
of this
time.
game so far for DK. He's defended so much with the Elder Titan. It's kind of incredible to see how well DK are defending with little as they have. Oh no, not again!
They know Bernie doesn't have gold for buyback, because if he did, he probably would have used it mid earlier. Now they're going to chrono him. The wards continue to work on him. This was stolen, though, by Lanham. He'll disable Chuan. But Bernie, oh, so low, he still goes down.
Oh, he was in Lanham's chrono.
He was caught in Lanham's chrono, just barely at the edge. Oh, it was so close to being a perfect counter chrono, but it actually sealed his fate. I think without that Sint, he lives.
Oh,
I really think he caught the Shadow Shaman in it, but the Shadow Shaman's hardly doing any right-click damage, so...
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think the chrono might have just killed him.
Have DK just impaled themselves upon the stolen chrono. You go back to when that used to work differently, when a stolen chrono would trap the Void, and imagine how this game could be different right now, but DK have no time to worry about that. They're now up against it. The Void, well, being the difference maker against this AM, dead for 40 seconds. There is a tier 2 down top lane, and this time IG, they've got the ward, no ward, sorry, but they have the Death Prophet ult, and they're just gonna throw it. Hex is online, there's no glyph available, and I think this is checkmate. IG are gonna force a reaction on DK very soon. Not just yet, it looks like. Arrow to fly, it'll connect on YY, but no, he BKBs in the nick of time. He got tossed back, had a chance to get it off, and now Mushi leaps in, but to what avail? He's silenced up, he's focused, the Chain Frost is bouncing, and IG, eyes on the prize, going straight for the throne here. I don't know if they finish it off. It's going to drop quickly. Lamb, again with the stolen chrono, is buying them time. But is it enough? Now YYF goes back in. It's Chrono Wars, and YYF has the last answer there. This does buy Burning time to respawn. He'll come in with the Manta, but nobody's low on mana. He's got to slice them a few more times. He gets bashed. Now he's shackled. He needs support from Ice, but he can't do anything. And Bernie will die again. That's got to be it. This void is just too much. The AM couldn't do it alone, and IG once again will prove DK's kryptonite, taking them down in yet another grand finals, 3-1. Oh, that was a facepalm. Well, not facepalm, but just a game where DK are going to be incredibly frustrated walking out of it. Burning with the double boots by the Lamb chrono, trapping him. Oh, Sin,
the overall draft as well, I think.
It was not their A game today.
I think every single game today, I generally, when we have these best-of-5 series between two top-caliber teams like these, there are some close games where it just comes down to execution, but I don't remember the last time I've seen a series that came this much down to just strategy and outdrafting. I think today was really a strategic best-of-5, more so than an outplay. DK really tried. I actually think for a big portion of this game, they just flat-out outplayed IG, and they still lost because Mushi couldn't do anything the whole game. He ends on 0-9-2, and it wasn't because he played bad. I do not want to imagine anyone playing a Templar Assassin in that game. It's just impossible.
Just 1v1 against Viper is bad. And then you throw like the rest of the draft into the mix, and I think we really have to call the Mirana picks into question. Sin, it once again just MY hit a lot of arrows this game. But it just didn't do enough. Like the early laning was good. They got some pickoffs. Birdie was farming well. Yeah, he bought the double boots, but he was still, it's about as good of a start for the AM as you could expect. The TA didn't do much, and on top of that, the Mirana just couldn't offer them anything when the 5-man came. It was Elder Titan and Rubik against 5, defending the base, and it just wasn't enough. I think they overvalue the Mirana. To me, that's the story of today. Not to say it's not a good pick, and not to say you can't pick it first sometimes, but every game, it's just not working for them.
Yeah, the thing is, it wasn't ever. The thing about that pick was, in neither of the games was it an awful pick, but it also wasn't an amazing pick, I feel. So it was like an okay hero that they chose early in the draft, which is great because it's flexible, but the rest of their draft either wasn't really built to work with Mirana, like you saw in the game with the Skywrath Mage, where they didn't have a single setup for the arrow, or in this game, the only setup for the arrow you have is telekinesis, which is, sure, it can work, but you generally want some of your cores to allow you to arrow as well, like an Astral, some sort of stun, a Chronosphere, whatever. They didn't have anything to really allow Mirana to shine in these games, and in addition to that, just the overall... I think every single TA pick today was awful. IG did it as well. Like, those were the kind of games where I just never would have imagined TA picked, and these teams are generally really smart at drafting, so that's the biggest surprise to me today, actually, more than anything, was either that Batrider got completely ignored in 4 games, or that TA got picked in what I think are 2 of the worst possible TA games I have seen, and they still chose it 4th. So
I agree.
Mushi ends with 0.8 fantasy points in this game. I mean, it kind of tells the story of it, right?
It's really not even on Mushi though. Like
No, it's not. He didn't play poorly.
Right, but the TA pick it didn't work for them. So Sind, in the end, DK, their reign of terror ends here. They took down Newbie in a pretty epic best of 5 yesterday, but, you know, maybe they're burnt out, maybe they're figured out. They couldn't do it, and, well, in the end, they don't take down IG. IG once again defeats them, and this is going into ESL 1, which you'll be casting at, where IG are one of the 2 Chinese teams qualified. To me, I view them as very strong candidates to finish top 3 there.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's IG, Alliance, and... I'm not sure on the third team. Maybe EG is the strongest looking teams going into the event, but this has to boost their confidence a bit.
Yeah, it's been a great series by them, and overall today I think they had the better execution between the supports, and also overall just the better drafting, which was the bigger factor today, was the drafting, and they kind of won the draft in the 3 games they won. So not surprised with the result, and big congratulations to IG as well. So it's been a great game, or a great series of games today for them. As far as anything else goes, I guess I will say my goodbyes, and I want to point out that if you guys haven't seen it, the Summer Games Done Quick is running right now, and I think LD also loves that. So I don't know if you would have pointed out, but I want to give a shout out to them.
Yes.
Go check out Summer Games Done Quick on Twitch. There's currently about 53,000 people watching. They're raising money for, I believe it is the what's that called again? Doctors Without Borders. Raising money for that by speedrunning various games. It's pretty amazing to watch. So I think you guys should check that out if you haven't seen it. And if not, then thank you very much for watching today, and I will see you soon. We're actually casting again tomorrow, David. Maybe you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we're casting the WVW Grand Finals, which I actually... let me just double check. Who's even playing? I can't even... There's so many Chinese Dota tournaments right now. There's been like 5 big online ones. It's Newbie versus IG. So we're going to get a Grand Finals without DK, which I think will be fun as a change of pace. But yeah, that should be a good game. So, Synderen, thank you as always for joining me, buddy. It's been a pleasure having you here.
It's been a pleasure being there. Or in spirit, right?
Well,
it's a picture. It's good enough.
I tried to rub your head like the Buddha, or at least pat it. But guys, you can follow him at Synderen Dota. You'll be seeing a lot more of him as the road to TI4 draws short and the hour of reckoning approaches. We'll be back tomorrow to cast the WVW Grand Finals, but you have been watching the GST Challenge powered by Gigabyte, presented by Beyond the Summit. Thank you for joining us. Of course, if you enjoyed my casting, I'm LD. You can follow me at LD Dota, and again, Synderen at Synderen Dota. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.